we had so many people within the fraternity, I'll be diplomatic, talking to Han Keong and me off the record saying, really, we should do A, B, and C. And I would say, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's what we should do, A, B, and C. Go and say it. Or cannot. Welcome to part 2 of Yahoo Footballing Weekly with me, Yahoo columnist Neil Humphreys.
And me, Yahoo editor Chia Keong, and Spurs fan Daryl.
And we're back.
Back again.
We're back for part 2. Local football.
Almost at the end of the season already for
Indeed.
one or two more episodes.
Exactly.
Over 40 episodes really. Thanks
And thank
so
you
much.
as always, because before we get into it, I just want to say that Han Keong and I, last week, we attended the Unleash the Raw football conversation.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we've got plenty to say about it. Well, that's coming in a few minutes. But I did want to say first, Han Keong, we were standing at this table.
Well,
And it was just people kept coming, Daryl. They kept coming to talk about the podcast. I mean, we had Eric Chua, the MP and the Parliament Secretary. He came over. Some guys from FAS came over. Former footballers came over.
Wow.
They all had good things to say.
in one season, we made them all take heed of what we are as.
Yeah, we've achieved more, basically, in one season than the last 20. No.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, some of them said, it's one of the rare podcasts in Singapore, football podcasts in Singapore, which, has a bit of gravitas, have a bit of influence. Hey.
But there was one issue I had with the event. I didn't see Daryl Spykerman there.
Yeah.
Where were you?
Guys, I registered for it, guys. I filled out the Google forms all.
Oh.
But they never got back to me.
Well,
I have to give the FAS a bit of credit because it seems like you don't like Spurs fans either. So thank you very much. And we will get stuck into the Unleash the Raw project shortly. Don't worry, we do have plenty to say
later
about it. But as always, thank you. The comments are coming in, getting longer. Are you doing this deliberately now? Because we mentioned it last week at the live podcast that they were long.
Yeah, one of them commented, I'm not sure whether I wrote a thesis, but it's like 10 paragraphs long. It's not a thesis, what do you mean?
But we do appreciate them. Agree, disagree. The fact that you're engaging with us, passionate about local football, as always, gives us hope.
It gives us the drive to know, at least we know people still care about local football, even though now it's probably in the doldrums, I can easily say that.
But you guys have come up with solutions.
Yep.
What's our first one?
So, Go Cards SG, actually, he also wrote the last time, and then now he says, is Singapore football worth saving? Of course it is. The night is always the darkest before dawn. We need a Cape Crusader in the form of an exceptional player or coach or a game-changing administrator who can give us hope that this dawn is coming. Break the bank if you want to get someone who is not afraid to shake the foundations and engineer a revolution for the hearts and the mind.
What do you think of that, Daryl? We need a Terminator / Batman /
You
DC.
play John Cena's team. And then John Cena comes to save you.
Like that.
I mean, okay, there's a lot of enthusiasm, but we can't. There's no like one magic silver bullet or one person that will save us.
That's true. But
everybody's got to come together.
I read it and I'm like, come on.
Yeah, but let me give you the reality. The reality is we need everyone to come together, guys.
That's true.
He always does the political thing, doesn't he? He always gets a bit Lee Kuan Yew.
Guys, okay, I went to watch Lion City Sailors versus Albirex at Bishan Stadium.
Right. And
then I got there and then I was late, fashionably late, and then Sailors already 2-0 down, and then I got my ticket. It was $16. I was a bit like, $16, that's a bit high, but never mind. I'm going in. I need to get a drink and a snack, so that was another $10. $26. I went in. Sailors were 2-0 down. There was a halftime thing talk. They came back. They played well, and they won 3-2. So overall, it was a good game. The crowd there was decent. I think like 1,000 plus, maybe close to 2,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if you calculate, everyone's paying about $16 or lesser. It's not a lot, but you gotta put money into the game to kind of help the clubs along.
Absolutely. And also, what are you suggesting? That's expensive or cheap or what? What are you saying?
I'm not sure. Like,
do you know how much it is to go to the cinema now or to go to the theatre?
Yeah, it's mad. It's 12, right? Or more.
More than that. Much more than that. I mean, it's all relative, right? People are going to pay $200 in a couple of weeks to watch Liverpool, to watch a training session.
To watch a championship side at Leicester.
Yeah, to watch his team with no manager, Tottenham. So it's all relative. No, I agree with the key point that stood out for me, Han Keong, in Go Cards SG's comment was a game-changing administrator. Yeah. I think that's so important. The number one priority for for the football scene, without a doubt, is investment. Everything else is window dressing.
Yep.
Coaching, scouting, overseas trips, naturalization, all these other big dreams and schemes. Investment. We have to convince corporates around this area, Robinson Road, Shenton Way, that Singapore football is worth investing in. And this idea that, it's the national game, so what?
Yeah.
So what? The one thing I will say that's relevant to this comment, if I hear the Malaysia Cup one more time, it kept coming up that night, right? In the old days when we used to, the old days are done.
Yeah. It's always...
I'm not thinking now like a football fan. I'm thinking like a corporate. And our local football scene must think like corporates. Don't go into a room with these people and say, Fandi Ahmad, Sundramuthi, the dancers. They don't care. No. How do I make money? How is my brand going to be affected if I'm associated with your product? Sell me your plan for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, and then I will think about putting money. Don't just say, Malaysia Cup, Kallang Roar, Carroll Park, full stadiums. I don't care. It's history. Sell me the product now. That's why I agree with Go-Karts SG.
You need a leader who's...
We need game-changing administrators, people who can talk the corporate talk in the room, get their PowerPoints together and show them step by step, plan by plan, this is how you will get a return on your investment. Otherwise, don't talk.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about history lessons. I don't want to hear about Fandi Ahmad anymore. I love Fandi. I love Fandi.
Yeah, we love Fandi.
But here and now, what do you think?
He loves Fandi and Fandi skits.
Yep.
But
we all love the Fandis. We all love the Fandis on this show.
We definitely need to... I think we've gone past over that, getting over the Malaysia Cup, and then now looking to the future.
Not last week. It kept coming up and coming up and coming up.
But we really need to figure out how the clubs can bring in the revenue for themselves to keep themselves sustainable, because you can't just be taking every year from FAS to run the clubs, right? You need to also build your own brand. Yeah. So part of it is the privatization, like how Lion City Sailors have done it.
But you need people to bring in the money.
Yeah.
So
people who know what they're doing. People who know to go into the boardrooms of these companies and say, this is how we do it. You can't talk to them about Malaysia Cup. You can't talk to them about history. You can't talk to them about national game. They don't care about any of that.
I think...
Show me what my money will do with your brand.
Right.
That simple. If you can't, that's it. But I agree with that point. Game-changing administration. That's what we need, Go-Karts SG. Thank you. What else do we have? Nicholas.
Okay, Nicholas Wong says, while there's a definite need for change at the top, I do think that a shift in mentality for Singaporeans needs to happen for the football culture to grow and thrive. Many Singaporeans think that they are too atas to watch or keep up with local football. They think it's not worthy of their time. But they will still wear EPL jersey and watch every match religiously. Look at the lower leagues in the UK, non-league and below. Many of the semi-pro teams still have many fans at their stadium.
Great point.
To them, they don't mind watching non-league football because it's still football and they know that they can have a good time. They aren't ashamed that they support their local club.
Fantastic
point. Mentality should change. We have said in the past podcast, some of the fans said, why should I support the Singapore Premier League? It is cheap. It's not very expensive. It's nearby. Go ahead. I mean, if you want some good time of football, the standard is not too bad. You can go there and have a good time.
It's a great point from Nicholas. But before I come in, what do you think?
I think you raised a few good points. I know there's you like to compare with like UK, but because they have the pyramid of that's been established, like they have the 92 clubs. And they still have like so much of conference or non-league divisions behind that.
Yep.
The pyramid is like maybe 8 or 10 divisions. In Singapore, we are so small, it can't be like that. But we do have history of clubs in like the Singapore Football League and these other divisions, and some people who want to start their own club. So there are clubs, there are people trying to start their own clubs. But in a way, could we also be wearing ourselves thin? Like so many people are going off doing their own thing. There are other clubs with history that we should bring back and then help them develop as well. In that way, there's always that history that lapsed supporters can lean on, or new supporters can get to know.
That's a key point. That is a key point, because this is where I'm going to really defend Singaporean fans, because I know I say, we lack culture, we lack this. And I know it is very easy to say that we're fair weather fans, fickle fans. And we always point to non-league football in England because they say, well, the standard is about the same. And yet they get if not full houses, they get good crowds every single game.
Like, what's the population of England?
But it's not just about standards. What I would say the difference between, say, Singapore football and non-league football is not just about playing standard. You've got a fixed stadium, established stadium in a community that's been built up over generations. Yep. What does that mean? It means you have community engagement. What does that mean? It means you can attract sponsorship and revenue from that same community. Singapore clubs often don't have those four. They don't even have a fixed stadium. Yeah. They get their stadiums moved around. They get their venues moved around. Yeah. So there's not enough community engagement. So this idea that Angmor fans are better than Singapore fans, it's not that. It's that they have a continuity in the UK that we don't have here.
And ironically, the team that's most established in the community is a foreign club, LBRX Niigata, who is now very established in Jurong East.
Fixed stadium,
community
ties, lots of local events.
Maybe Tampines also pretty established in the Tampines, but this too, But the rest keep on get moved around and
Hougang was there until they got shifted. Okay, they're renovating the stadium. Fair enough, but it's another problem that we have to deal with. So this idea that England fans are better than I actually don't buy that, because some of the non-league teams are not very good, but it's not about that. Win, lose, promotion, relegation, they still follow them because it's their town, their stadium, their community. It's a fixed focal point of their week. We can't keep being so fluid. We have to start plonking down roots. What was you going to say?
I think you can link it to, like, when we talk about unleashing the raw or trying to have a culture of football. It's very difficult, and unleash the raw, or we will set like goal 2010 or goal 2034. But in all honesty, all this that we are doing now, we may not see the fruits of it in our lifetime.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's something that is beyond that. So you have to establish the culture of the club or the players by, like what you say, having a fixed stadium. The fans were always there to support. Like, even when I went to watch the game at Bishan Stadium, like, Albirex were the opponents, but like there were fans who came over to watch, and like they were walking after the game back to like Bishan MRT, and then it was just like husband and wife with like the kid who's like 5-6 years old, and then they're just happy going about their day. Like, these are the things that Singapore fans have to do with their families.
Yes.
Like, include everyone.
It's not like they got far to go for an away game, right? Yeah. It's just an MRT ride away.
Nearby, and you kind of like just have to, that's what we'll do. Try and invest in the club in this way, like paying for the tickets, paying for the merch.
So these are long-term, but these are long-term, like you said, long-term developments.
Long-term things lah.
So, but there are still people like the next reader who really wants a short-term solutions as well. So this Hiroyuki Shinichi said, "We need an urgent and substantial injection of foreign talents who are willing to commit to play under the Singapore flag. We need more Song Hui-yong, who is currently a Singapore midfielder, who is naturalized from Korea. And hopefully soon to be Kyoga Nakamura from Tampines Rovers. We need the Chuli, Precious, Durick, Daniel Bennett, etc. of the future. I know some would liken it to a stopgap measure, but yes, we need both stopgap and long-term. That is the case for any major illness. In order to stop the disease from spreading, diabetic patients have to get a limb or two amputated first, and then begin the long-term medication and the never-ending dietary restrictions."
Well, I don't know why we're amputating limbs, but I take the point. This has been in the news this week, hasn't it? Because the
FAS President Bernard Tan actually was talking to Mothership, and then he actually said that
we need to bring back the naturalization foreign talent scheme.
I think it is really a short-term solution. Short-term, you definitely, if you get and the thing is, you need to get the right foreign talents. Durick, Daniel Bennett, they are good examples, but we have also Itimi Dixon and
Egbert Gonçalves, Mirko Grabovac,
No, those people are not as good. So it's also a hit and miss affair. But if you do it right, yes, you give a quick boost. But after that, we tried with foreign talent before, and then after that, we don't know how to develop after they retired.
Exactly.
Does the current FAS know how to continue after the foreign talents have hung out their boots? That's a big question also.
What do you think?
I think definitely you can consider having like younger players being naturalized. Like if they come in at about 18, 19, then they still got to play 5 years according to FIFA regulations, and then they can play for the national team. So even at the earliest, you get them at 23 and 24, being able to represent Singapore.
Not bad. It's about 28, 29, just nice. Still can contribute for a couple more years.
So I guess that's one option you can have. Like this is one of the options that we will consider to at least boost the number of players available for selection for the national team. I think it's fine as long as you don't.
And it's also
don't
actually
naturalize everyone or like another 200
actually now
players.
because Malaysia also has a lot of naturalized players now. So everyone's thinking, let's go back to that again. But we started it all first actually.
Yeah. I'm going to get to that. Right. So I knew this would come up after the SEA Games thing. Typical Singapore, Kiasu, knee-jerk reaction, short-term fix. Here we go again. Foreign talent scheme, bring it back, naturalization. Everybody's doing it. Yeah. Why can't we? Two major issues with that. Everyone's talking about Malaysia, but there's still a connection to the country in most examples. I looked at Darren Lock. He's a naturalized Malaysian, yes, but his father is from Malacca. He's Malaysian Chinese. That's a little bit different. You're halfway Malaysian anyway. Yeah. So what connection do they have? These things matter. I say this a million times. There has to be some form of spiritual, tangible connection between the guy on the pitch and the guy in the terraces. There has to be a connection between footballer and fan. Otherwise, what's the point? If there's no tangible link, why should I care, right? And the second point, where I disagree slightly about this, I don't think it's a short-term fix. I actually think it's a cop-out. I think it's a white flag. I think it's us waving the white flag and saying, we can't find enough players, so we're going to import them. What's the point? If we don't have enough players to care or take an interest, why should we watch 11 not Singaporean players? So we can't get a Singapore 11, but we're going to get a United Nations 11. Well, I've got even less interest in watching that. So I don't get it. I think it... And to your point, I know we mentioned the Korean lad, who seems like a nice guy, Song Wee Young. He's been here 10 years. He came in about 2011, 2012, and he was naturalized, I think, a year or so ago. So 10 years after he arrived. Wow. So if every player takes 10 years, wouldn't it be better just to invest our money in the next young generation of kids and get them coming through in 5, 7, 8, 9 years, Singapore-born kids, as opposed to wait 10 years for every foreigner?
Yeah, exactly. And now that Singapore's football is so bad, do you think it's easy to get foreign players to please come and play for us? And we give you our passports.
You're going to get the ones who didn't make it anywhere else. Let's be honest. You're going to get the cast-offs.
Yeah.
Right? It's the fact one. It's a fact.
Yeah, so only those people who want to change their nationalities, they are not stupid. They won't blindly say, I will go to where the money is. They want to see whether there's a chance for them to actually make it or not.
Okay, but let us know what you think. Yeah. Should we bring foreign players back and naturalize them? Send all of your comments to
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
All right, let's get to the main event. This week, Han Keong and I were invited, he wasn't, to the Unleash the Raw football conversation. 170 people were there. All the big shots were there. Eric Chua was there. Big FAS plans. Hierarchy was there. Ex-footballers and coaches were there. It was a big event.
Big ideas, big plans.
Exactly, to talk about, that's the one, to talk about the fallout from the SEA Games and where we go next. What did you think of it?
Well, just now you say about cop-out, I think it was literally really a cop-out, I think, for the whole thing. I think we had envisioned a sort of like a
town hall meeting.
Yeah.
Q&A.
People panel in front and people ask questions. Instead, it becomes like they want it to be like a constructive kind of discussion. So it broke up into a small group discussion, which is just dissipate everything again. So, everybody comes up with this and that.
It felt a bit like an episode of The Office to me, where we got out the whiteboards and the marker pens. Where's David Brent?
And then later they come out to talk something very politically correct and nothing controversial for the hounds of media that were behind them waiting for some good quotes. And then there wasn't any. So it's like, okay, I don't know what they're going to do with all the points they made, they gathered from the various discussion. There were a lot of groups, I think at least 20 over the groups doing the small group discussion. nothing was said about that. But from what they say, it's another round of self-congratulatory, we are on the right track. We're right on the right track. Let's go ahead. Let's press on. Let's press on with this Unleash the Raw thing, which is fair enough. But I mean, there's one school vice principal now. Unleash Raw is in the schools, so
which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. But this school vice principal said something which just really jars with me. He said the most important thing is they get the good values. They learn about teamwork. They learn about character building and this and that. He said he didn't say a single thing about whether Singapore football is improving or not. Whether this thing will improve Singapore football. I don't know. It just I didn't say this doesn't feel right. The whole football conversation doesn't feel right. It's supposed to be how to improve football, and here we got somebody who said that's not important. It's important is to build character.
It's not what it's for.
Yeah, it's not what it's for.
That's what school is for, building character,
A couple of the comments did get a bit nationalistic, rah-rah, the sort of things you'd hear at NS
and it makes me wonder,
school sessions.
It makes me really wonder if there's the whole community is really united and have the collective will to push through this project and make it successful. Now, there's a lot of different values they want. So
all I would say is, you and I talk to a lot of people, and in any environment, any office space, you'll always get people gossip, bitch, and then when it comes to the moment, they won't say it publicly. Yeah. That's normal. We get that. Yeah. That's human nature. What I would say about Unleash the Raw, we're not a whacking podcast. That's not what we do. But if you've got 170 people in that room, they all have a vested interest, which is what? The game. They're there on a Tuesday, wasn't it? A Tuesday, Wednesday?
Thursday night.
So they're there on a Thursday night, giving up their Thursday night because they are passionate about the local game and they are a stakeholder or they are invested in some way in our local game. So their opinions should be valued. And we should be brave enough to have a panel set up and to encourage people, take questions from the audience. Agree, disagree, don't mind. What I thought was very unfortunate is you had 170 people there, all with lots to say,
and only a few.
And they never had a chance to say it.
Yeah.
That's where we have to be a little less thin-skinned, I think.
We saw Facebook posts from people who attended the thing who said, no, in the end, not many opinions were being being brought out. Everybody was waiting for opinions to come out. In the end, it was barely discussed during the session. It's a bit of a missed opportunity.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. I felt that as well. I felt it was a missed opportunity. You had everybody there. Yeah. Everybody from Alexander Duritz, Adias Kunda, Daniel Bennett, Lim Tong Hai, Stephen Tan. I mean, it was the biggest collection of footballers of that generation, post-Malaysia Cup generation, that I think I'd seen in years. So there was a real opportunity there. And you had coaches there, Active SG, private academies, school academies. They were all there.
Probably upset and passionate about the how Singapore football has fallen off the charts. But I mean, in a sense, the media around made them curdle up.
Yeah, I think so, maybe.
Like, okay, let's not make this a really messy shouting session for the media to take note. But
the frustrating thing was, Daryl, we had so many people within the fraternity, I'll be diplomatic, talking to Keong and me off the record, saying, really, we should do A, B, and C. And I would say, that's brilliant. Yeah. That's what we should do, A, B, and C. Go and say it. Or cannot. Or we should also do D, E, and F. Of course, that's fantastic. Go and say it. Oh, cannot. Then what's the point in us being here? If you can't speak up,
if there's a conversation and you don't want to talk,
it was a bit.
It's a missed opportunity for everybody. I mean, everybody felt it's a missed opportunity.
We all want to unleash the raw, and so we all want to do it together, basically. Yeah. And I think we should just be a little bit thin-skinned. But we'll wrap this up by saying I want to finish on a positive, and I just had a little look on Instagram before I came in here, and Danelle Tan, our good friend Danelle Tan, who's at the London Bees, she's still doing it. She's had a fantastic season, the female girl, the first female Singaporean footballer, first Asian female footballer to play in the top European league. She's had a great season, and that's the way we unleash the raw. You see the way I brought it full circle?
Full circle.
Right? Instead of bringing foreigners to Singapore, we send Singaporeans to foreign countries and they become better footballers.
Wonderful.
Danelle Tan is the way forward for Unleash the Raw. But what do you think? Let us know. Send all your comments too.
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, and Yahoo SE on TikTok.
Thank you, Daryl. You see the difference between us and Unleash the Raw? We invite you. We let you come. Thanks, Daryl, as always, my friend. And thank you. And do keep your comments coming. We do appreciate them and we do read them all. It gives us hope for the future. So thank you very much. Take care. Stay safe. And we'll see you all next week.